Good evening, everybody. We are back. We took a little break, but we're back. Our guest this evening is a PGY1 resident. I'm really excited that she could join us tonight. I think our last session was like maybe a week ago. So I'm very excited to have with us tonight Sofiya, who's going to kind of share a little bit with us about herself, her program, and of course, you guys know I ask those questions to see if there's anything that from her journey, her experiences, and what her year has been like so far that she may be able to share with you. So, for all of the prospective candidates that are listening or watching this with us, you can benefit from picking something up. Without further ado, good evening, Sofiya. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so excited. We're going to start with, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, sounds good. So a little bit about myself. So I am a PGY1 resident, as you all know. And I went to University of Maryland School of Pharmacy, graduated there in May, and didn't know that I wanted to do a residency. I was kind of iffy about it, but I knew that it would like advance my career, help me get more jobs and just like so I can be a better pharmacist in general. And because as we all know, and taking tests and stuff is not like the real world. So getting as much experience as we can is more important. So that's why I found myself applying to residencies. And I wasn't sure where I would land or how my year would go until I matched. And then I matched at Chester County Hospital, and that's where I am now. But yeah, that's a little bit about myself. I mean, hopefully that covered briefly.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, I love talking to all of the Marylanders. This is a
Yeah.
safe place for everybody. I'm just kidding. It's a safe one, but of course, the Marylanders, like, they have a special place in my heart. So they're welcome to join me and share with us anytime they want. Congratulations on the match, of course.
Well, thank you.
And so your program is a Pennsylvania program, correct?
Yes, yeah, it's part of Penn Medicine. Yeah.
Part of Penn Medicine. How
Yes.
many positions do they currently have in your residency, or how many positions do they offer?
It's just two. So it's my co-resident and I. Mhm.
Okay, very good. That's not bad. That's it.
Yeah,
I
it's
had
a
no,
smaller hospital, so it's nice. That's why I looked for smaller hospitals when because environment.
Mhm.
Um, do I wish there was more residents? Probably, but I like that it's just one, two of us, and we just get more focus on us,
Yeah,
basically. So it's nice.
absolutely. I've had so many directors, like I've had directors on the program that are directors of community hospitals. It definitely has its pluses. Going to a smaller program, a program that's developing, or even a smaller program that's very well established, there's a lot more flexibility and freedom, I think, in certain aspects of the program and how they are willing to really tailor your learning experiences to what you're hoping to get out of it. So I think that that's something that's really, really like under, like highlighted when it comes to programs that have two positions and three positions because everybody's going for the statistics game. It's like if it's
Hmm.
there are a lot of positions, that's where I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
So what made Chester County Hospital a fit for your goals? Like I think you've touched on it a little bit already with wanting to become a well-rounded pharmacist, but I think in your own words, it would be nice to help someone else just hear what that sounds like and what was it about the program when you interviewed that kind of made you feel like I can see myself doing it here.
Yeah, that's a good question. So my one thing that a couple things that I was looking for was that it was a smaller hospital, and that the people were just nice and like they understood that we live lives and we don't have time for everything and that people make mistakes and whatever. So when I was interviewing, I didn't go to mid-year, so I didn't opt into that just because money wise, and also I didn't think that there was much benefit of going, like when I could just research the program. So I was just researching and oh, this hospital looks cool, maybe I'll apply there. So basically I was just applying anywhere I could, and I was trying to do within like a 1 hour radius within where I lived in Maryland, so I didn't go too far from home. And so yeah, I saw Chester County, they were a smaller hospital. It's a newer program, which I didn't know when I was applying really until like went to the into the interview. So I didn't know that they were a new program, but it's okay. So when I interviewed, um, all the people were super nice. Like honestly, like everyone I interviewed with, compared to the other programs I interviewed, they were just like understanding and just super nice. They had great things to say about the program, about the people that are working there, and the residency program director, which actually left, so we have a new one. But when he interviewed me, he was so nice, and like I just felt like I could be myself
Absolutely.
when I couldn't with them. So that was like, this is the one that I'm picking, and
Yeah,
that's what I did. So like I just went with my instinct and the feeling,
absolutely.
basically.
So important. And people, like, every time I talk to people and I'm like, I went on a lot of interviews,
Yeah.
and when you walk in, there's a vibe. There's this
Mm-hmm.
thing, and at the end when you're leaving, you know how you feel. And I remember like
Yeah.
sitting in my car right after every interview and just writing, like journaling exactly how I was feeling
Yeah. Yeah.
after the interview. But
Yeah.
people are
That's
always,
exactly what I did. Yeah.
yeah, dude, how are you gonna know? Like, how can you tell? Um,
Mm-hmm.
you can tell when people are being genuine, and
Yeah.
based on your
Exactly.
goals. Like for me, like a broad exposure, I always wanted academic medical center because I just knew I was interested in literally everything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I had
Same.
to really target programs that did have almost everything
Mm-hmm.
available so that as I progressed and I'm like, I want to go check this out, I want to go check this out, that opportunity would be afforded to me.
Yeah.
But like, touched on some really important things like just genuine kindness and niceness of people.
Yeah. And my interview was virtual too. So
Really?
like I didn't even get to see them in person, but like I could just feel it during the interview. So like
That's,
that, I know that's even like the best part of it, because it's like I wasn't even in there.
that's really, really, really amazing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of people can't say that.
I know.
Virtual, like most people describe virtual like super awkward and
Yes.
yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, cool. So I think that that's important. So like for prospective candidates, like pay attention to the vibe, pay attention to how you feel, and pay attention to
Yeah,
how the people make you feel as well.
exactly.
Help you and aid you in your decision making process. So you touched on something I really want you to share a little bit more about, the fact that you weren't always sure that you
Mhm.
were going to do a residency. How do you think then helped you still be competitive? Because I think as a student, like most people, it's like success by design, where they go after all of the different opportunities because somebody's told them that if you have X, 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 and X, you could apply and get a residency. But for a lot of people, they're figuring out like right now that they want to do a residency and they're nervous that they don't have X, 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 and X.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
I'm curious that for a person who wasn't positive from the beginning,
Yeah.
how did the year unfold for you in figuring out how you were going to position yourself to still be a very competitive candidate despite not figuring out to a little bit later on?
Yeah. That's a good question. So, yeah, I wasn't sure in the beginning. And even like when I was applying, I was unsure because I was like, do I really want to do another year of this and like not get paid and basically just die? But I was like, the
Because
benefit,
I,
yeah. you know. But I was just like weighing my benefits versus risks. So I just saw more benefits with doing residency than not doing it, in my eyes. I think that even if you didn't do residency, you could still thrive in your career. Like looking back at it now, like even if I didn't do it, I could have still went and got a clinical position even without a residency. There's hospitals that do accept candidates like that. And so, but it just makes you more profitable with that residency and it advances you, you know,
Yes.
compared to your prospects. And so when I was applying, I mean, before that, even if I did when I didn't know, I just made sure that I was getting all my stuff prepared. I mean, for any job, you still have to prepare your CV, you still have to get experience. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of students are working in hospital or retail settings. As long as you're going out and getting some sort of experience, whether it's volunteering, whether it's a organization, you don't have to be involved in a million organizations. I was involved in like one or two. You don't need to be like, you know, they don't you need to be well rounded. That's what they look for, especially like during your interviews. Like you might get that interview, but do you know how to speak? Like do you know how to formulate your answer? Do you know your clinical like judgments and all that stuff? Like you might not be 100% the best fit. Like I got denied in interviews, so many of them, and I was like, why am I getting denied? But it's just like, I mean, I think it's also the luck of the draw. Like I literally think it's the luck of the draw. Like some students that I know are like super qualified, but they didn't get an interview and they didn't match.
Yeah.
And how in the world does that happen? You know what I mean? Like it's just a lottery thing as well. Like I literally think I got here for a reason, and I think it's luck as well. I mean, I don't know.
No, I feel it. I know exactly what you're saying. Every year, I find myself talking to candidates who didn't match at phase one, and I'm
Yeah.
like, send me your CV and your letter of intent. I can't explain it. I can't explain it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they were incredibly competitive candidates. They literally followed the blueprint
Mhm.
that whatever the powers that be say, if you've done all these things, you will secure a position. And they didn't secure a position.
Yeah.
Something went wrong along the way, but from an outsider standpoint, we don't have an explanation for it.
Yeah.
And this is where, like, what you just said is so important. Like, you're going to be the places that you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's so important to trust that process. But it's so difficult also, like because you hear the devastation in their voices when they talk to you,
Yeah.
and here you come like Miss Positive. It's gonna work out. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
You're smart. You're so hardworking. So it's one of those things that like I really really dread about the week after match, because I know that like I'm talking to a lot of people that kind of need that
Mhm.
encouragement. So I
Yeah.
think it's great, and some things also shifted in pharmacy where
Mhm.
people are transparent about not matching. People are talking
Yeah.
about not matching. I think that this is a really powerful thing.
Yes.
Last
Mhm.
year, I was just blown away by how many people felt um, powerful, empowered, and
Mhm.
secure enough to talk about that journey.
Yeah.
Because one of the most painful parts about failure is that you think it's happening to just you.
Yeah.
Like that
And
that's
it's the end of the world.
the world. It's such an isolating feeling.
Yeah.
But then suddenly when you find out that like, oh, wait a minute, like there are a couple thousand people that feel
Mhm.
how I feel today, it
Mhm.
could be really, really empowering to try to get yourself back up and say, like, I'm going to continue fighting for this.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that that's really, really profound.
Yeah.
Um, you
Yeah,
talked
it just
about,
put it sorry, it's just also, like, putting your mindset in
yeah,
it, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta prepare yourself, like, when I was applying, I, like, already had my brain set, like, if I don't match, it'll be fine, if I do match, it'll be fine, like, you know, so you gotta also not think that, like, it's the end of the world, basically, if you don't match, yeah.
100%. And like you were saying, ultimately, the thing that's going to determine your success and that altitude to which you'll soar will be your work ethic, your outlook, your mindset, your attitude, all of those things that residency strives to teach you.
Yeah,
But in actuality, they're lessons and things you develop over time.
yeah,
So I think that for anybody who's applying, I always tell them like you have to know that there are zero guarantees in this in this game. It's why
Mm-hmm.
I call it the Hunger Games.
It is. Yeah. It really is.
You're so extreme. I was like, if you talk to people after match, you know why I'm calling it the Pharmacy Hunger Games. Like, it's serious.
Yeah.
Really, really serious.
Yeah.
One of the other questions, like, I think people would love to know whether or not you and your co-residents, if they'll have an opportunity to meet you guys at mid-year.
Yeah, so Chester County will be there at mid-year. We're actually presenting our poster at Vizient, so it's more like uh, the entity that we buy our medications basically from. So they are also having an event the second and the third. So we'll be presenting our posters there, but then we'll be at mid-year just promoting our program as
Program.
well.
Well,
Mhm.
awesome. Two positions. You guys will have an
Yes.
opportunity to meet and engage with both residents. It sounds like there is a poster opportunity, poster presentation opportunity to check out, as well as talking to them and meeting them at the showcase as well. So, as far as your journey and how you kind of got to where you are now, we need wisdom from you. Like, what is I know you probably are like, but I, I, I really believe this. I wholeheartedly believe this. Nobody gets to the next level in their career without picking up something that someone else could benefit from.
Yeah.
And that something is purely subjective, and it's just what you learned. Like, we all
Yeah.
have like these little knowledge gaps, and so something that you'd be willing to kind of share with prospective candidates that are preparing to kind of embark on this journey. I mean, I think we've kicked off. Like, the moment November hits, in my mind, the Hunger Games are here.
Yeah, it comes really quick, like really quick. And I'm like one thing I'll share about me also is I don't plan to do a PGY two. That's just my personal thing that I just don't like. I want to start my life kind of thing, and I think PGY one for me is enough right now. um, but yeah, like I don't know. It's just yeah, it's a journey for sure. So like you find that out and you just know what's best for you.
Yeah,
But yeah, some wisdom. Oh gosh. I guess always be eager to learn. And don't be afraid. Like everything turns out to be okay. Like everything is meant to happen the way it's meant to be, basically. Like I was meant to go to a residency, that's fine. But like if I wasn't, I would have been fine with it too. Like when one door closes, another one opens is what I always say. And I've tended to be more okay with that over the years. There's times where I'm hurt by that when I like get rejected or I fail at something or whatever, but there's a reason for it. And I think everyone should keep that in mind, like residency isn't an all be all thing. Like
yeah,
there's other things out there you can strive for.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. There's just a lot of opportunities as pharmacists. And yeah, you don't need to kill yourself if you don't want to either in residency.
Yeah. And like, I'm pro residency, but I'm keenly aware of the fact that it is not for everybody.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
is not for everyone. You could really do your research and make an assessment and say, this is not for me. And I think we need to stop pressuring. We need to stop
Yeah.
pressuring people,
Hmm.
putting the fear of God in people's hearts. In that, if you
Yeah,
don't do a residency, you're doomed to this for the rest of your life.
exactly.
I don't deal in absolutes anyway. It's
Yeah.
kind of like, okay, maybe it's 80-20, but that 20%, I could totally exploit the 20% to my advantage. Like, that still looks good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It's not, I love that you're really talking about that and encouraging people for that. It's not for everybody. And
yeah,
more importantly, a PGY2 is not an absolutely necessary thing.
yeah,
It is
yeah,
not. Like, I am a PGY1 onlyer,
yeah, yeah,
and I can tell you that the best thing that happened was not doing a PGY2 because,
yeah,
like I said, I'm interested in a little bit of everything, a little too much.
yeah, yeah,
And so the idea that being well-rounded and being able to pivot if I want to keep that opportunity open isn't just exciting, but it's really a fit for my personality because I've bounced around so much in just the last few years of finishing residency, and all of it has been amazing and rewarding, and I wouldn't trade any of it. I still love infectious diseases, but I get to do it as part of my med management clinic, which still satisfies that little passion I have for it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So LPGY2 for you, and you guys will be at mid-year. I'm thinking like
Yes.
if there's anything else, any other words of wisdom. You guys are through forecast, correct?
We are through forecast. Yes, that's how I applied. We are a newer program, so my co-resident and I were both second year. So this is the second year they're doing the program. We just got a new residency program director. She's really awesome, like really awesome, like probably the most hands-on director or anybody that I've had.
Yeah.
Probably. And so like very helpful. So yeah, I mean, I encourage if you like Pennsylvania, you like Westchester is a great city. It's not Baltimore or Maryland, but it's still a cute little city.
Yeah. Oh, like like I forgot, like there's this other question I like asking every PGY too, because I think it helps to just hear, even for me, I'm curious. What do you believe was your biggest transition from student to new practitioner?
Oh, there's a lot of things. I think for me, for me, just becoming more independent. So, like, I was not comfortable when I got licensed and whatever, I passed everything. I was able to verify orders, and I was like terrified of it because number one, we are taught things in school, but to do it yourself and be in charge of monitoring for is this the right dose, all this stuff, and like it's very terrifying because it's like that's your name
Yes.
on the line and your license on the line, so it's like, oh my gosh. So don't forget to get pharmacy insurance. But
Yeah.
that's a plug there. But just in case, like it can, it's terrifying. I think that was my biggest transition. I think other than that, like it's the same as rotations, just on steroids basically, because you're doing research, you're doing your independent things as a pharmacist, and then it's like a job, so it is a job. So you basically
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, I think that was my biggest transition, like thing that I had to work on, and just saying that I am the pharmacist. Basically, I'm not a student, and like, yeah, there are other people to lean on and to help there, but like ultimately, they're relying on you as a pharmacist. So like, know your stuff, kind of thing. Like you have lexicon and all that, but
Yeah.
it just can get scary. So
Yes, and it gets scary so quickly. Like I still recall it for the longest. Colace, Tylenol, those were my orders that I would verify. And then I got a heparin drip one day.
oh
I
my god.
I went home, couldn't sleep. Like I really couldn't sleep. I literally came back to the hospital like 6 hours later because the ABTT was due. And I was like, I just have to make sure the patient didn't bleed to death. Like
Oh my
she's
god. Oh
looking at me like, what is wrong with her? So of course
yeah,
I had to get a little talking to about
yeah,
that. But it's a really big deal. And like when you tell a nurse you can crush that and you see she's walking away, she's going to go crush it. You're
hmm
like, oh my God, like
hmm
people are doing what I tell them to do.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, and they're like relying on you, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. So when I have students, like it's one of the things like I really try to get them to experience early. If
Hmm.
someone asks me a DI question, I pause and I look at them and I ask them, what do you think?
Hmm.
And then I may tell the person, I'll let you know in a second, and then ask them to practice like responding
Yes.
to that. Call the nurse and tell her the answer, and educate her on that. So like she doesn't just know the answer this time, but she's
Yeah.
educated a little bit better. So next time she can help another nurse.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
feel that 100%.
Yeah. And like I didn't have hospital experience either before residency. Like I only did the COVID clinic at Sinai Hospital, and then I basically just applied and hope for the best. But so I didn't know much about like, there's a lot of hospital medications that aren't outpatient. So like a lot of the things we don't learn about drips really in school and stuff like that, and what's the right like rate that should, like, and so that kind of stuff, and like dosage forms and all that, like that comes up on the NAPLEX, but like in real life it's like it's different, like things, they're not straightforward basically. So like a lot of that stuff is a learning curve, and that's where I'm at. So like I'm basically learning as I go. So
Yeah.
I still don't know a lot of things,
But you're going through residency, and I'm telling you, like, if we
Mhm.
connect in May, this conversation will be completely different.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I love that. I love that transformation.
yeah,
Like when you guys are on the way out, that transformation, it's invigorating because you can feel it, the
yeah,
confidence, the energy, everything is so different. Even if you feel like there's still so much more you have to learn, your mentality around those things you don't know is a little bit different. It's not an insecurity anymore, but it's more like, I know how to go about figuring that out. I know how to go about looking that up and
yeah,
becoming more comfortable with it. And I think that's one of the gifts of residency. Like the unknown no longer has you like shaking in your boots. It's more like,
yeah,
ooh, challenge. Okay, let's go. So
yeah. And yeah, and I mean every hospital is different too, so you got to follow their policies and all that. So even if you look it up in Lexicomp, they might do it completely different. So it's
different.
like you got to keep that in mind too, which is like something that we were never taught. I mean on rotation a little bit, but like not as much.
You don't get an opportunity to see it and actually be like in the trenches with it
Exactly.
as
Yeah.
when you're in residency. 100%. Thank you so much for such an amazing conversation.
Of course.
Before I volunteer your information, because I love doing that.
Yeah.
Is it okay if prospective candidates reached out to you with questions or wanting to learn more about your program?
Yeah, of course. 100%.
Perfect. So please reach out to Sophia. She's very, as you can see, like this has been such an awesome and comfortable conversation. I will definitely strive to connect at mid-year.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm going to be like on a tour.
Yeah.
I promise to see everybody at mid-year. So
I
if
want to do that too.
yeah, if you see me flying down a hallway or whatever, I'm on my way to fulfill a promise that I'm going to go meet somebody. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's
Thank
awesome.
you. I'm so grateful for the opportunity. I appreciate your time,
I'm grateful
sincerely.
for the opportunity to be here. I mean, it's great that what you're doing. So
Thank
definitely
you.
helps a lot of people.
Awesome. I hope you come back to Maryland and then we get to
Oh, yes.
reconnect that way.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful evening. If you joined us for this live or watching this on playback, we appreciate it. Share and tell your friends, and definitely reach out to Sophia. Sounds like she's in a wonderful program in Pennsylvania, and as you can see, she's excited to share and talk to you about it. So don't hesitate to reach out. It just takes a message to get things started. Thank you, and have a
Of
great
course.
evening, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.